To cement his place in the world of survival, Ed Stafford has challenged all the top survival experts. His opponent this time is Egg Snyder, who once survived a grueling 21-day challenge without any clothing. Both will now attempt to survive in the Amazon for 5 days, without any equipment or food. As survival experts, the moment they met, they immediately exchanged strategies for the challenge ahead. This is the harsh environment of northern Thailand. Both contestants must start from a mountain peak and follow the river down to a dam 60 kilometers away. The first to reach the destination will be the winner. As for equipment, each contestant is given a knife to aid them in the challenge. As soon as the competition begins, both of them take off like wild horses, sprinting forward, only to find themselves sliding down a steep cliff. After running for a short while, Nieder spots a banana tree. He quickly squeezes out a few drops of its essence and drinks it for hydration. Then, he gathers a bunch of banana tree cores to carry with him, an excellent natural source of carbohydrates. Without wasting any time, he takes off like a rocket again, and before long, he arrives at a flowing stream. On Ed's side, he spots the stream at the base of the mountain, but getting down is a real challenge. From his vantage point, the drop looks to be around 10 meters. At this moment, he has only 2 choices: slide down the steep slope or take the long way around. Thinking about his wife back home who still needs someone to take care of her, he decides to put victory on hold. At least for now. He chooses to take the long way around. The next day, determined to catch up, Ed sets off at dawn. If he doesn't come up with a special strategy soon, he might just end up finishing in second place in this challenge. After running a long way around, Ed finally reaches the stream. Instead of drinking directly from it, he digs a hole beside the water. The soil can filter out most harmful impurities. Though the water still has a muddy smell, it is safe to drink. Now, if Ed wants to move faster, his only option is to cross the stream ahead. However, this is extremely dangerous. Not long after stepping into the water, he is swept away by the strong current. Luckily, a fallen tree stops him just in time, saving him from disaster. Nieder had his own path. He chose to go through the forest, pushing through dense bushes. After walking a few kilometers, he stopped by a large tree, pulled out his knife, and struck the trunk multiple times, hoping to find something useful. However, all he got were small wood chips falling to the ground. He didn't seem satisfied with this outcome because, unlike Ed, going without food was something he couldn't handle. Skipping 9 meals over 3 days would make it impossible for him to continue the challenge. Luck was on his side. A snake appeared, ready to become his main meal for the day. At this moment, Ed was also thinking of a way to deal with the situation. Swimming across was definitely not an option. He had to build a raft to make it happen. He chopped down a few wild banana trees and tied them together to make a simple raft. Then, he set it afloat on the water, using his strength to gently maneuver it without exerting much energy. After reaching the shore, he moved along the trail, but he hadn't gone far before encountering a major obstacle. Not far from there, Nieder was starting a fire to prepare his grilled snake meal. He didn't know that Ed was standing behind him, watching everything. Ed chose to take a detour to overtake Nieder without him noticing. Luckily, Nieder had no idea what was happening. Ed couldn't stop laughing, thinking he had secured the lead. To save time, he didn't even set up a shelter for the night. This was where he would sleep tonight. That night, Nieder enjoyed a delicious grilled snake, while Ed went without food. Fasting was his strength. The third day of survival began, with only 2 days left to claim victory. Despite spending the night without a campfire or food, Ed was still full of energy. He ran tirelessly for hours. Meanwhile, Nieder accidentally fell into a cave. Unfortunately for 2 bats, they flew straight into his fire. Just like that, he got an unexpected source of protein falling from the sky. In his rush, Ed lost his footing and slipped, tumbling down a waterfall. Luckily, he wasn't injured upon landing. Now, he had no choice but to backtrack and find another way forward. Nieder seemed to be enjoying this survival challenge more than expected. Yesterday, he had grilled snake, and today, he was feasting on roasted bat. It almost felt like he was on a camping trip rather than a harsh survival test. Ed hadn't eaten anything for 3 days, and now he needed to replenish his energy. He climbed up a tree and stole a large ant nest. Without any preparation, he ate them right away while scratching himself from the ant bites. As night fell, with his stomach struggling from digestion issues, Ed vomited everything he had eaten earlier. His body felt weak from not having a proper meal for 3 days. Determined to find food, he decided to set up a small trap for rodents, hoping that by morning, he would have caught something to eat. Waking up the next morning, Ed went to check his trap, and to his relief, a large rat had been caught. After quickly preparing it by removing the head and skin, he roasted it directly over the fire. At last, he could enjoy his first real meal in days. Ed and Neder didn't have much time left, so at this point, any wrong decision could lead to defeat. On the morning of the 5th day, this would be the deciding day to determine the winner. On one side, Neder gathered wooden logs and built a raft, using the power of the water to speed up his journey to the finish line. The closer they got to the finish line, the faster our 2 survival experts pushed forward. There was no time for rest or food, only the drive to run as fast as they possibly could. Ed was the first to reach the finish line, but due to extreme exhaustion, he collapsed while trying to climb onto the bridge. But right behind him, Neder was advancing fiercely. Instantly, Ed seemed to gain a surge of energy, climbing onto the bridge with all his strength and securing the victory. Ed's next opponent is Andakan, a renowned explorer. He possesses a strong and powerful physique, along with impressive survival skills. The location for this challenge is a vast mangrove forest, where competitors must navigate through crocodile-infested rivers. The first to reach the watchtower at the mountain's peak will be the winner. As soon as both competitors plunged into the water, the challenge officially began. They sprinted into the dense mangrove forest at full speed, climbing and leaping over the tangled branches with incredible agility. At first, thanks to his physical strength, Andakan seemed to have a slight advantage. Even though he was unfortunately kicked into the water, this didn't shake his determination. By nightfall, he had managed to set up a temporary sleeping spot on a sturdy tree trunk. As for Ed, he also secured himself a safe spot to spend the night. Waking up at 7 a.m., Ed began searching for his first meal in the mangrove forest. He found a large snail in the mud. With this type of snail, you can simply crack it open and eat it raw. However, we don't recommend trying this at home. It's extremely difficult to eat. On Andakan's side, thanks to his superior strength, he easily navigated through the dense branches of the forest. However, he believed that the most important thing now was to build a raft. It would help him cross the mangrove forest more efficiently. On Ed's side, he hurried toward the mainland, knowing that in a few hours, the tide would rise. He thought he had finally escaped the mangrove forest, but to his surprise, he had only reached another small island. Quickly, he gathered a large number of vines from nearby and wrapped them around tree trunks to form a triangular structure. This setup had to be sturdy. If not, he would have nowhere to sleep when the tide rose. His opponent was still struggling with his plan when, unfortunately, he fell into the water once again. As night approached, Ed prepared to start a fire. In the wild, fire helps prevent mosquito bites and wards off dangerous animals. Tonight, Ed can finally get a good night's sleep. By the 3rd day, although Ando had considerable strength, his ability to endure hunger was not the same. He prepared a crab trap to regain his energy. The trap was nearly complete. He took it to the riverbank, adding a few leaves as bait. In no time, a crab was caught. He brought it ashore and ate it raw without any preparation. But remember, it's not recommended to try this yourself. On this side, our guy was trying to cross to the other bank. Even though he fell halfway through, no worries. He finally made it to the other side. Although Ed choked a bit on the water, he was fine and kept pushing forward towards the goal. Along the way, he unfortunately had a leech attach itself to his leg, sucking his blood. Not wasting time on it, he decided to make use of the leech as bait and quickly fashioned a simple fishing rod, hoping to catch a meal for the day. After a few minutes, a small catfish bit the hook. Ed was thrilled to see the protein source. That night, he enjoyed a delicious dinner and had a restful sleep, recharging for the challenges ahead. On day 4, the race was on. Both Ed and Andakan knew this was their last chance to make significant progress before the final day. Every move, every decision, and every step counted. They pushed themselves to the limit. knowing that the final stretch would be the ultimate test of endurance and skill. Ando, using his resourcefulness, quickly crafted a hook by tying a piece of rope around a tree branch. With all his strength, he threw the hook across to the other side. When the hook caught onto a sturdy branch, he flipped himself over and began to slowly and carefully make his way across. Ed was no less capable. He had built a hut out of palm leaves, planning to spend the night there. The final day had arrived. Both of them replenished some energy to prepare for today's sprint. With 10 kilometers left to the finish line, they were determined to win. The two of them started running like crazy. Ed charged straight toward the finish line, and the observation tower was right ahead. He climbed up and proved himself to be number one, always ready for the next challengers.